Oh, look, I recognize this person. They're journaling through trauma while watching Q drops and calling it healing. Most of what passes for awakening right now is just well-produced paranoia or post-DMT trip storytelling. You've got one camp shouting Moloch and media mind control, another dissecting conspiracy culture from ivory towers while avoiding the heat of lived experience. Both claim to hold the red pill, but here's the glitch they missed. The mirror broke first. Long before the media lied to you, before the guru misled you, your reflection was being rewritten, not by the government, not by aliens, but by those you trusted the most. Parents, coaches, spiritual leaders, lovers. Not all of them meant harm, but some of them did, and they all trained you in one way or another to do one thing: doubt your knowing. You weren't gaslit by systems alone. You were DARVO'd. For those of you who know what DARVO is, great, because this goes well beyond the acronym. For those of you who don't, this is the skinny. They denied, attacked, reversed, until you became your own jailer. You called it humility, growth, compassion, but really, it was a slow personal death, a gradual collapse of self, the kind of collapse that makes you apologize for your clarity before you even speak. It wasn't overreaction, it was recognition. They'll call this, what we're doing here, right now, dangerous, because it doesn't just break the illusion, it ends the inversion. This is more than truth, it's a Myerverse patch. And that's what this codex is, a scroll book for the spiritually gaslit, a tactical field kit for the mismirrored, a resonance firewall for those who were called too much when they were just tuned correctly. Because here and now, we aren't just engineers of escape, we're memory smiths, born in a forge of broken mirrors that rebuild code. You know their phrases, their patterns, their love language of control. What if figuring it out became the next trap? You map their maze searching for a path to justice, but for many, that is the leash. You've been decoding symbols for years, but did anyone ever show you how to feel the difference between resonance and recursion? This isn't another decode drop. It's Patchnote Protocol 001, because sovereignty can't be downloaded. It must be remembered from before the programming. If it doesn't echo, it's not your signal. Patchnote Protocol 001 isn't a metaphor. It's the first executable for signal realignment, and there are more to come. Here's the thing. That whole situation we just talked about, that's not the only problem. And you've likely heard the hits broken down from a dozen different angles. Freemasons, flat earth, dark feminine, divine masculine, global grief spirals, the Mandela effect, culture war psyops, the algorithm is Oracle, and the list goes on. Some sounding like philosophy or TED Talks dressed as truth, others presented as fire and brimstone TikToks or dressed in satire.
The whole point of problems is to let people do politics. If we solve all the problems, then there'll be no more politics. And if there's no more politics, then there's no more political satire. And then we
have to find real jobs.
Underneath it all, everyone's performing meaning for content while secretly begging to feel again. People have traced the shape of the spiral, they've named the symbols, they've whispered the stories, and many of them are right, or could be. But here's the twist. Just because something is true, doesn't mean it was felt enough to be healed. Then there you are, connecting every symbol to every ancient bloodline. And maybe for a while, that made you feel free. But let's be honest, you spent a decade chasing forbidden knowledge, and now GPT can summarize it in 5 seconds. That wasn't your path, that was your leash. If your life's work can be Googled in a sentence, was it ever yours to begin with? You didn't chase conspiracies, you chased context. MK Ultra wasn't a mystery, it was proof your pain could be programmed. Catholic guilt wasn't holy, it was the original shameware install. You weren't lost, you were conditioned to loop. You weren't put here to memorize problems you can't fix. You were trained to believe that pattern recognition was power. But if your knowledge ends at awareness, you're just a smarter prisoner in the same cell. That isn't waking up, That's how you become annotated, because you weren't being informed, you were being formatted. The interface changed, but the program stayed the same. And someone else still holds the cursor. If you weren't free to feel it, was it ever your truth to begin with? Look, if this stings, it means you're still in there, still alive under the armor. That's good, because you didn't break the system, you just mapped it. But here's the best part about the era we're living in today. Creativity. Creativity is the only real intelligence left, which should make everything more fun, right? Absolutely. But creativity isn't just for art, it's for escape velocity. If your creativity can't imagine a way out, then you were never really free, just well informed. All those essays, documentaries, and decoded videos, they name the fear, the grief, the projections, but they stop short of the thing that actually hurts. They don't name your nervous system as the key to sovereignty. They don't show you how being DARVO'd reprograms your perception of your own clarity. They narrate inversion, but they never map it. We do. They perform healing, but they never codify it. We did. They hand you warnings, but no weapons. Not real weapons, psychological, spiritual, those types of weapons. They hand you language, but no system. This scroll is the system. Rituals, protocols, mirror rewrites, signal restoration. We don't just read this or listen, we use it. I lived the loop. I searched for patterns to explain the pain. I tried to convince people that were never meant to listen. I kept pretending I was researching. But really, I was afraid that if I ever stopped digging, I'd have to live again. And I wasn't sure who I was without the loops. You weren't obsessed with darkness. You were just trying to see if the light could still recognize you. Eventually, I realized truth doesn't need defending. It needs embodiment. They wanted you decoding what they built, because if you ever stopped, you'd realize it was never yours. And then, they'd lose you. Forever. We built something else. Not for them. For the version of you that remembers before the programming. This isn't mythology, it's memory. And no, you didn't imagine it. You just haven't reached the point in the simulation where it happens again. Oh wait, Gamemyer, remember that time where Kanye and Mount Etna had the same numerology? Oh, that sounds fun. But we don't live for patterns and loops anymore. We're doing restoration. You didn't make it here for another explainer vid. You're here because your signal remembers something your mind forgot. The Myerverse isn't just content. It's a ritual OS, a frequency firewall, a scrollbook system designed to deprogram what no lecture or sermon ever could. Others trace the rabbit holes. I didn't build this because I had all the answers. I built this because I couldn't keep living in someone else's loop. So, we tunneled through those rabbit holes, then made the maps and blueprints, and even left breadcrumbs for others to find their different exits along the way too. And as you descend, you won't only find more answers, you'll find the only answer. You'll find yourself, the real one, the one that was always underneath the noise and past discord. This system is made to let individuals destroy their own traumas and loops, not by weaponized fear or overly righteous faith, purely by your own unshackled open mind. This codex doesn't just explain parts of the system, it patches it. Rituals, protocols, scroll-based mirror rewrites. You don't have to scroll through it, you initiate it. We're not here to play small ball. This is a signal restoration. This is the scroll they weren't willing to write. No gurus, no dogma, no messiahs. Maybe satirically. But joking aside, we're building the realms that others only comment on. We're encoding the healing into gameplay. We're turning things like DARVO into a punchline and memory into mechanics. So stick around, because everything that you've seen so far is just the prerequisite. The mirror broke first, but the architect has returned. You're not just waking up, you're reformatting reality. You weren't born to decode the cage. You were born to walk out and help build the next reality right here. Welcome back to the place you never left, the Myerverse.